So I broke it into sections, the things from 12.1, the things from 12.2, the things from 12.3. So from 12.1, they say on these first two, lines that appear to be tangent are tangent. So that means this is a point of tangency. That means this is a point of tangency. This is a point of tangency. What did we do here to find the value of x?
We know that there's a right angle, so 9 plus 36.
Right.
Subtract that from 9.
Okay, so you know when a diameter meets a tangent, it is 90 degrees. So this is 90. So 90 plus 36 plus x will equal 180. So we're going to take away 126 degrees. I don't have a key made for this, so you guys are going to have to help me with my mental math here, is 54 degrees. And tell me if I do something wrong, too. Questions on that? Okay, so what's different about letter B then? Now you have two right angles, and it's going to add up to 360 because you have a quadrilateral instead now, instead of a triangle. So this is going to be 90 because it's tangent. This is going to be 90 because it's tangent. So 90 plus 35 plus 90 plus x will equal 360 instead. So take 360, yes sir?
Couldn't you also just do 180 minus 35?
You could, but that's only because you took 180 out of it already in your head, right? So 360 minus 90 minus 90 minus 35 is 145 degrees. So x equals 145. Okay, so we're just taking this away from the 360. What? Yes. Okay. Question number 2 says determine whether the line is tangent to the circle. So it looks tangent, but we need to know, is it actually tangent? You cannot just say, yes, that looks like it hits in one point, so it's tangent. You need to have proof. How do you prove? Pythagorean theorem, okay? If it is a Pythagorean triple, it is tangent. If it's not a Pythagorean triple, it cannot be tangent, okay? Because then it can't be a right angle. So this first one, here's your point of tangency, meaning if it's a right angle, the right angle would be here. So which two are your A and your B? 9 and 12. So you're saying 9 squared plus 12 squared should equal 15 squared. The 15, by the way, this is a bad representation, but the 15 is supposed to be the whole thing, okay? So you plug that in. 9 squared plus 12 squared is, I think it's 225. 15 squared is 225. So because it is equal, is it tangent? We would say, yes, this is tangent. Okay, and here's your reason why. So just show me the Pythagorean theorem so that I can see why it was. If you just tell me yes or no, I will not give you full credit for that. Okay, you have to show me that you plugged it into the Pythagorean theorem. All right, so what are your A and B going to be for letter B? 7 and 15 are the two you're going to add together. So 7 squared plus 15 squared would have to equal 16 squared. Again, 16 should be the whole thing. They didn't represent that very well. So 7 squared plus 15 squared is 274. And 16 squared is 256. Okay, those are not equal. So this would not be tangent. Good on that? Okay. Number 3, it says the polygon circumscribes the circle. What is the perimeter of the polygon?
You do the little corner things, so 22 goes to the corner.
Right, so from this point right here, if this is 22, then so is this one. Okay, so you have a 22 here. What is this length going to be? The blue. Sorry. Blue is going to be 9 because that one is 9. And then if this is 15, this will be 15 also. So your perimeter is going to be the 2 9s plus the 2 22s plus the 2 15s, or you can just add them all together, right? What do you get from that? 92. Don't forget to label, right? It's a length. 92 centimeters would be your perimeter. Okay, this time they're telling us the perimeter. So the perimeter is 76. We want to know the value of x. What do you do with that?
The same thing, so 5 will go to the next side, and then 25 will to the next side, and then you go.
So this is 5, this is 25.
And then it would get x for the bottom part, so you go 2x plus 60 equals 76.
Right, so your perimeter right now is the 2 x's plus the 2 5s plus the 2 25s, and we know what that should equal. That should equal 76. So 2x plus 10 plus 50 is 60. So we're going to take away that 60, and you get 2x equals 16, and then divide by 2. So x would have to be 8 inches. Okay, and you can always double check that if you want. If you put an 8 here and an 8 here and added them all up, you should get 76. Okay. Questions on that? Okay, so that's 12.1. Then we jump to 12.2. 12.2 says find the value of x. Keep in mind, the distance to a chord, if it's the same, then the chords themselves have to be the same also, right? So if I'm saying right now, again, the labeling here is not awesome. We're going to say 8 is just that piece of it. So what is x? 16. If this is 8, then this is 8 also, right? Because they're marked congruent. The chords have to be the same because the distance to them is the same. So x is going to be 16. Okay. What is x on letter B?
5.
It's 5. If the distance of the chords is the same, then the distance to them has to be the same. So if this one is 5, the 5 is this side, then x would have to be 5 also.
For C, do you do Pythagorean and multiply x by 2?
Yes, but I wouldn't use x. Remember, this is the one where I said don't use half of x.
I feel like y.
Just give it a different letter. Call it y, call it a, call it something else. So in letter C here, if we call this piece of it y, it would be what in the Pythagorean theorem?
Y squared plus 8 squared plus.
Yeah. 8 squared plus y squared will have to equal 15 squared. So take away the 8 squared or take away 64, however you want to think of it. Remember, this is not 7 squared. Okay, you cannot subtract and then square. You square and then subtract. So it's 225 minus 64. Or if you just plug it into your calculator how you see it, your calculator will do that for you. Oops, 15 squared minus 8 squared is 161. Okay, so we take the square root of that, and y is approximately a decimal, so 12.689. And what do we do to that y? You double it. So this was y. If it's perpendicular, it's cutting it in half. So times 2, that 12.689 times 2 is 25.4 if we round to the nearest tenth. So y would be 25.4.
Can you go up to B? In
Yeah.
the same section?
Mhm.
X.
X, sorry, x would be, you're right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good on that? Okay. Then 12.3. So this is what we did yesterday and today. How do you solve? Oh, this is so very much like one you just did on your homework, or you're going to do on your homework. How do you find A right now?
It's half of 42.
It's half of 42. A opens here and here, so 42 is its intercepted arc. So A is half of 42. So A is going to be 21. Okay, how do you find B?
Half of 84.
B is going to be half of 84. So B opens up here and here. So this is your intercepted arc. So we're going to say B is half of 84. So that's 42. Okay. How do you find C?
84 plus 42 plus 2C equals 360.
Okay.
C is opposite. It's the vertex. Vertical.
So if you do 84, 42, and then whatever's left from 360, and then you would have to cut that in half.
But you just add 21.
But you guys haven't even, you'd have to add them together and cut in half. You haven't even learned that theorem yet, because this isn't the center of the circle. So there is a way to get there using those outside arcs. I've not taught you that yet. Julia.
180 minus 42 minus 21.
Right. So this C is a vertical angle with this one, right? And you have a triangle. And triangles always add up to 180. So 21 plus 42 plus C should equal 180. So we're just going to take away the 63. So C is going to be, what is that? 117, yep. So 117 degrees for C. Any questions on that? I know there's a lot going on in that one.
Just hold up, wait a minute.
Let's put some boom in it. Is that how it goes? Let's put some boom in it.
The monkey kind of climbed up the stairs. It was crazy. That thing is hilarious.
I don't know what that.
He's in his own little
No,
world
there's
right
this
now.
YouTube video where this guy is on the news and he says, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right? And then he goes and talks about how like this burglar enters his house, but then this guy made a soundtrack to it that is low-key fire. You should all
Okay.
listen. Hold up, wait a minute. It is crazy.
Okay, I'll look it up. Okay, letter B. What do you notice in this picture?
Quadrilateral.
A quadrilateral. When you have a quadrilateral inscribed in a circle, what do you know?
Their opposite angles are separate.
Opposites are supplementary. So that means A and 108 have to add up to 180, right? So to solve for A, we're just going to subtract 108. So 72 degrees for A. Okay, what does that mean for B?
It's 180 minus 92.
Right, B is going to be 180 minus 92. So B is going to be 88 degrees. Okay. How would you solve for C?
You could double B.
So you could double B, but we don't know D, right? Luke.
So, wait, yeah, so you double 92, and then you subtract 114 from that.
If you double 92, that's going to give you this
I
one.
know, so you find that, and then you know the other side,
Yeah.
the full side.
Or
Oh,
like
yeah.
you can do 72 times
There's
2.
a quicker way.
Wait, 108. You double
What were we trying to
108
find
and then you subtract
Wait, why shouldn't
'Kay.
114 be double 92?
That makes sense.
No,
Why not?
because 92 opens to here,
Oh, right.
right? Okay, so take a look at this. Here's what I would do. Quickest method, if you ask me, is this. 108 opens to this arc. So how big is that arc? 216. Double 108. Let's go to a pen instead. So this is doubling the 108, 216. So how do you find C?
You just minus 114.
Subtract the 114. So 216 minus 114 is your C value, which is 102 degrees. Okay, now if C is 102, now you can solve for D using which angle? Angle B, okay? If you look at your angle B, B opens here, so your intercepted arc is going to be this one. Okay, what are you doing to 88?
You're multiplying by 2.
Multiplying by 2 to get that arc. So 88 times 2 is 176. And then you would subtract the 102 because 102 and D together, so 102 plus D would have to equal that 176. So we're going to take away the 102 and you get 74 for D. Questions on that? Okay. If you are a visual person, draw the lines in so you can see which arc you're using, because a lot of times people use the wrong arcs when there's so much going on in a problem like this. The wrong arcs get linked with the wrong angles. Okay, so draw the lines so you see what your arc is. It will help a lot. Yes?
How much will the dot pointage be if you don't put the
The dock pointage will be 0 if you don't put the degree mark.
So you won't like,
I will not dock
okay,
for no degree mark
okay.
because, I love you.
And what happens if it looks like an extra 0 if we do dock?
If it looks like an extra 0, you'll get points taken off because I'll think it's a 0.
Well, what if we can tell you that we had
Excuses go for
How about just do it right? Just put the degree mark, make it small enough so we don't think it's a 0, and then everyone's happy. Okay, letter C here.
You said B90.
Why is B90?
Tangent.
Not tangent rule. Diameter, right? B opens up here to a diameter,
Oh.
which means this whole arc is 180, so the angle is 90. So yes, B is 90 degrees. It is like a puzzle, isn't it fantastic? C is 61, right? If you look at C here, that's 122 for the arc. So C is half of that arc. So C is 61.
And then you do 90 plus 61 plus x minus.
I looked at that completely different.
Okay, so yes, you can do that, but you don't have to. Julia, how did you find A?
180 minus 122.
Right. So here's what I would do, just because it's quicker. What you're saying is not wrong. You can get there. It's just more steps. This represents a semicircle because of the diameter also, right? So if this is a semicircle and we know this is 122, then you can just do 180 minus 122 to get A, which is going to be 58 degrees for A. Now, some of you are saying, what if we do, let's just call this X for now. X plus 61 plus 90 has to equal 180. So you get 29 when you take this away. What is that, 51? So you get 29 there. So if this is 29, then you could double it to find A. That's fine. You'd still get 58. It's more steps, which leaves more room for error, which is why I wouldn't do it that way. But you totally can. It's not wrong. Questions on that? Okay, last one.
This is a mess.
Yes, this is a mess. There's a lot going on here.
I don't like that at all.
Okay, first of all, this is something that a lot of people forget about. How does a central angle, remember a central angle uses the center of the circle. How does a central angle relate to its arc?
It's double.
It's congruent. They're the same, right? A central angle coming off the center is the same as its arc. So that means this arc right here is 38 degrees.
Ooh, so C is 360 minus 38 plus 146.
Sure, if you want to start with C, you would do 146 plus 38 plus C makes up a full circle, so 360. Okay, so you're going to go 360 minus 38 minus 146. So C is 176. Did I plug something in wrong? 38, 146, 360 minus 38 minus 146. I'm still getting 176.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought you
Okay. Okay, so C is 176. Then what?
Then you, take
B
C
is
divided by 2, which, to get B.
To get B. Okay, so here's the deal with B. This is a tangent. This is a chord. Its intercepted arc is the 176, right? So if the intercepted arc is 176, you're going to take half of that. So B is half of 176. So B is, what is that? Guys, my brain is not in mental math road today. B is 88. Okay, so that's this angle.
And then you take 38 divided by 2 to get A.
Right, A is the inscribed angle for that 38 degree arc, right? This angle right here is represented by this arc. So if that's 38, A is half of 38. So A would be 19.
Why does B have the little archy thing with A? What is it saying it's congruent to? You know,
Oh, it's not saying congruent. Yeah, they should not have put the, it's just saying B is this whole thing,
this angle?
right? Because it has this going through it.
Okay, I thought it
So
was saying
yeah,
that
it's not
was
saying they're congruent. It's just marking the angle. Yeah, they should not have done that. Questions on any of that?